Hi everyone, Flaming Footy here, and welcome back to a new video on the channel. And today guys, here I am to continue my AFL 2023 weekly previews. And in today's video, I'm going to be previewing every game of Finals Week 1. So of course, just going to be rolling like a normal preview. Of course, as we start the preview, it's going to be reviewing the last rounds. But yes, in today's video, I'm going to be previewing every game coming up in Finals Week 1. Round 24 review, of course, as we start the round preview, started off with the last round review. Round 24 did feel like a little while ago, indeed. But Collingwood defeated the Bombers by 70 points. North Melbourne defeated the Suns by 35. Fremantle defeated the Hawks by 37. Brisbane defeated St Kilda by 12. Western Bulldogs defeated the Cats by 25. Adelaide defeated West Coast by 45. Port Adelaide defeated the Tigers by 31. The D's defeated the Swans by 21, and the Giants finished off the season defeating the Blues by 32. Here's the ladder: Collingwood in first, Brisbane second, Port third, Melbourne fourth, Carlton fifth, Saints sixth, Giants seventh, Sydney eighth, and then there is the rest of the ladder. All right, Finals Week 1 preview. Thursday night footy is back for this week, and it's a big game to open up on the Thursday night. It's a massive game at the MCG. Collingwood and Melbourne, is going to be a huge crowd there, and this should be a brilliant game to say the least. Collingwood and Melbourne in the qualifying final, and qualifying finals are just so huge because if you win, you get through the prelim, and your path to the grand finals a lot easier. And both the qualifying finals, both Collingwood and Melbourne, and Brisbane and Port Adelaide, which I'll be getting to a little bit later on in the video, both have a lot hinging on those games. It's just so huge, especially Brisbane and Port Adelaide, because it's two interstate sides. But Collingwood and Melbourne as well, if you do get the win, your path to the grand final becomes a lot easier than if you don't win. So it's just so important to get the win in a qualifying final. I mean, of course, in the finals, it's just so important to get a win anyway, but a qualifying final does make your life a lot easier. Collingwood first, Melbourne in fourth, and this should be an absolute beauty. Of course, this is a Collingwood home game, but the MCG is going to be absolutely packed. It's going to be so huge. Now, Collingwood, round 24 win over Essendon was a win which they kind of needed. They've been a little bit shaky up to that stage, but they need to get a win, and they did, and they played really well. Melbourne, their win over the Swans was a really good one, and they've been pretty consistent over the past 7 weeks, and they've been playing some really good footy and are in fine form, are the D's. So, Melbourne probably going to this game with a better form line recently, but Collingwood, they've been the best side all year, hence why they finished first. This is going to be a brilliant battle. They're like stars on display everywhere. Collingwood have got some big ins coming back. This is going to be a huge contest. I think Collingwood are going to be a little bit better of the sides, but this is a 50-50 game. I could expect this game to go either way, but I'm saying Collingwood by 11 points. Now, Friday night footy at the MCG, Carlton and Sydney. And this is the first elimination final. Of course, if you lose, you're done. And if you win, you get through to the semi-final. Now, the Blues, it's been 10 years, but they're in the finals, and it is huge for them. They've got some superstars that's going to be ready to play finals, headlined by the names Patrick Cripps and Charlie Curnow. Those players are definitely built for September. And the Swans, of course, they played in the grand final last year and are very lucky to be in the finals again. And Carlton, Sydney, and the Giants all had to save their seasons throughout this year to get into the finals, and the Swans, they've been really good since that round 15 win over West Coast. They've just managed to clock up the wins and make the top 8 only just so. They finished in 8th and do face a tough task of playing a good Carlton side who were done at one stage in the year, but have won they've won 9 of their past 10, including 9 in a row. That round 24 loss to the Giants wasn't their best, but I'll definitely be expecting them to come back and be very hungry to win. And the Swans, of course, they only just got in. They just scraped in. Round 24 against the Demons wasn't the best, and the last quarters have been an issue for them. So if they are down at the final quarter, like at 3/4 time, it could be a bit of a hefty loss. They're gonna have to buck a trend of their own if they want to try and win this game, especially if they're down at 3/4 time. If they are leading, it'll be interesting to see. But yeah, last quarters will be interesting. They're gonna have to play a very good last quarter if they want to win. And I mean, Carlton didn't play great quarters last week in round 24 against the Giants, but it's almost like a whole new season for them. It's a week off, players can get refreshed. This game is huge, and I think Carlton at the MCG is going to be too strong, and they're going to win by 21 points. First game Saturday, it's a Saturday doubleheader. And the first game is the Saints and the Giants at the MCG, 6th versus 7th. Two hard-running sides. This should be a belter. It's the third game at the MCG. And, of course, the Giants, they're an underrated side, to put it simply. I mean, both these two sides actually really are underrated. What they've done this year has been huge, and both these two sides probably haven't gotten enough credit. But in my opinion, I do believe the Giants are probably the most underrated team in the top 8 this year. They've got a bunch of underrated names, but of course, Toby Green is definitely the biggest one. He's not underrated, but he's going to be so huge for them this finals campaign. But yeah, this is going to be a really interesting game, because this is another 50-50 game, probably the most 50-50 of the weekend potentially. I mean, Collingwood and Melbourne is up there as well, but again, though, you never know how games are going to play out. But yeah, this is just going to be such an interesting battle. Of course, Ross Lyon back at the helm of St Kilda. Adam Kingsley is taking the Giants by storm with an orange tsunami. And this is just going to be a great game, because both these two sides can run, and run they will. But yeah, this is going to be a really exciting contest. The Giants, of course, had to save their season at one stage, but ever since that round 12 or 13 win against North Melbourne, they are coming. They are coming, the Giants, with their orange tsunami. They're coming in a big storm, and they've been really good. They've managed to knock off some really good sides. They managed to beat Adelaide at the Adelaide Oval. They managed to beat the Melbourne Demons. They managed to beat Carlton. So they've done a really good job. And then even earlier on in the year, Sydney at the SCG, but the Swans weren't really flying at that stage anyway. But they've been able to beat some really good sides, and they've been in pretty good form, the Giants, so I'm expecting them to come to this game huge. And same with St Kilda, that they'd gone through a rough patch in the mid part of the year, but really in the late part of the year, bounced back to some good form like they were at the start of the year. So they're hitting the forms in some good form as well as St Kilda now. This should be a really, really, really good contest, but I think the Giants are going to get the win by 10 points. Saturday night is another qualifying final. Of course, the Saints and Giants is the elimination final number 2. This is qualifying final number 2, though, between Brisbane and Port Adelaide at the Gabba, and this probably has the most stakes riding on it, in my opinion, because it's two interstate sides, and whoever wins gets a home prelim final in their state at their home venue, and that's just so important. It pretty much just about means that one of these two sides will probably be playing in the grand final. Really, in all honesty, it probably means that one of these two sides will be playing in the grand final, because they're going to get an easier finals fixture, because they're going to have a prelim final at home. And we all know that both Brisbane at the Gabba and Port Adelaide at the Adelaide Oval is a scary proposition. It is tough, as whether you're a Victorian side or as another interstate side, to go interstate and play the Brisbane at the Gabba and Port Adelaide at the Adelaide Oval. They're not unbeatable there, but it is tough. And I mean, Brisbane have been unbeatable at the Gabba this year. They have not lost the game. They've been close to losing the game. They have not lost the game yet. And Port Adelaide, the Adelaide Oval, have also been a scary proposition. Now, of course, it's just so huge. Brisbane, if they do get the win, they go on to have a Gabba home preliminary final, and Port Adelaide, when they get a home Adelaide Oval preliminary final. So it's just so huge, and it's going to be a really big contest, considering they're two interstate sides. Now, at the Gabba, a place where the Lions have been unbeatable all year, I do think they get the win by 21 points. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see how Port Adelaide's defence holds up against the Brisbane forward line, which is really, really good, because they do have a bit of an undersized defence. But look, this is just going to be such a huge game, considering these two interstate sides, second versus third, and I believe Brisbane win. So going over my tips for the round: Collingwood, Carlton, GWS, and Brisbane. There we go. Alright, so now to the finals fixture, or bracket, whatever you want to call it. So here is what I think the finals fixture will look like with my results in place. So Collingwood defeat Melbourne, go through to a prelim at the MCG, which means Melbourne go through to the semi-final. Carlton defeat Sydney, which means Carlton go through to the semi-final as well, so it'll be a Melbourne-Carlton semi. Then the Saints and the Giants. The Giants defeat St Kilda, which sends them through to semi-final 2, and they will be playing Port Adelaide at the Adelaide Oval, as I believe Brisbane will defeat the Power at the Gabba, which means Brisbane get a Gabba preliminary final, and how huge that is for their year, because they've been really good up there all year, and it'll be very tough to beat them up there, and I definitely do believe they're going to be able to display that against Port Adelaide. So, yep, that's what I think the fixture looks like, which means week 2, Melbourne, Carlton, and Port Adelaide and the Giants. Here is the full Coleman medal rundown. Charlie Curnow, 78 goals. He won the Coleman medal. Taylor Walker got 76, 71 for Larkey. That's the top 3 in the Coleman medal race. What a huge week of finals week 1 is going to be. You got big games, and of course, finals is a whole different ball game. Should be a brilliant week of finals. Thank you guys all so much for watching. Please do make sure to leave a like and subscribe and hit that notification bell. So you guys will never miss another video on the channel. Thank you guys all so much. Bye everyone. Flame Footy out.